Hey y'all, it's Anna Bradshaw here on another Craft with Anna adventure. This time we're exploring the wonderful world of pocket pages. Now I got this variety pack from SEI at the convention last weekend, the Creating Keepsakes convention up in Bellevue, and I want to try to fit as many pictures as I can in these pockets. Here's some other things that I got, some leaves and some fun flowers, and I really want to use these pictures, and the photo strip style that these printed at is what inspired me to try to squeeze them into those 2x3 pockets that come on the pages. Here's some really beautiful papers that I want to try to include too. Along with these die cuts, which I'm so crazy about these new ephemera packs that they're putting out. Some ribbons. I've got a lot of chipboard from this Echo Park Reflections fall, and see these 2x3 cards on here. They're just too cute, right? I really want to try to include them. A whole bunch of other papers that came in a variety of kits that I've picked up all about fall recently. I love my Embellish It kit membership. And I've got these really plain chipboard thickers, thinking about using those, and some Melissa Francis All Occasion stickers. Here's another chipboard sheet from the Echo Park Reflections line. I've used a lot of it so far. And you can see the theme of my papers is kind of neutral. Oh yeah, glitter woods. Is that too cool, right? And this SEI paper it's my favorite. Wood grain and the metallic sheen in the purple here. And when I started, I just grabbed like everything that I was inspired by, because I've never done one like this before. So I'm going to do a 2-page spread. One page is going to be traditional with these three pictures of my daughter Rainey on the left hand side. The other side is going to be the pocket page. So I've seen a couple movies where they just kind of start playing around with the items that they want to include on top of the plastic sleeve, and I think that's going to work for me. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to start randomly kind of looking at my papers and layering them underneath where I think they might go. And this kind of creative process works well for me. When I realize how many papers I actually have accumulated for these 2 small pages, though, I'm pretty sure there's going to be a lot of pages that get disregarded. I'm going to start just putting papers behind here and seeing what I like, seeing what I don't like, and making, pretty quick decisions about whether or not I want to keep it or not. Something else that I'm going to be keeping in mind is that I'm not going to be using a whole sheet of paper on the right hand side for anything. This whole pattern isn't going to be continuous, so I really need to be aware of containing my patterns in these individual pockets. And it's working really well for me to be doing the 2 pages simultaneously. Now, I have not gone much into this direction. I didn't do a project life or anything, but I have a lot of fall pictures, so I really want to try to capture these. And plus, there's just so many cute things out there. So here's some of the things that I'm hoping to use. These 4x4 journaling card stacks that I've been getting lately, I've been using the heck out of them, and I love that because it's more fun to use something that you get instead of just having it, right? And again, I'm going to be fairly quick in my deciding, do I like it or don't I? Can it possibly work, or do I totally not like it at all? These 2 2x3 cards are right next to each other, and hey, I've already got it out, I might as well try to use them both. Does it bother me that these 2 greens don't really match? No, it doesn't. They're okay. Same page. One says something about reasons why I love you, and the other one says documented. So those are, I can easily find journaling words to go into those spaces. I'm just layering here and there and everywhere, and whatever I like and I think it works, I'm just gonna put it down. I mean, nothing's glued, nothing's permanent, so I can always change my mind later. And one of the things I've noticed them doing on the YouTube movies I've watched, especially I recently watched a YouTube movie with Lilith Eccles, and she was kind of venturing into the Project Life pocket page arena as I'm doing today, and she pointed out that she was decorating each card individually, which was something I kind of hadn't really thought about, and so each little card that I'm putting in here has the potential to become its own little scrap space. Even though I have all those different papers, I just am so reluctant to cut a small piece out of those big 12 by 12 sheets that I just got. So I'm going to look for some more, 4 by 6 or 2 by 3 cards to fill up these spaces. Now this card has rounded corners, but I think I can still make it work with the way the rest of the layout goes if I just round the corners of some other either cards or pictures. So I've got almost all my pockets filled up, and now I'm going to start looking at how I'm going to kind of incorporate some of my stickers, because as you remember, I have a lot of embellishment stickers too. So so that I can move around the little stickers, I'm just going to cut them out of the backing. And I'm going to try to keep in mind how the entire flow of the 2-page spread is going, how my eye is being led from the very left all the way to that very bottom right hand corner. Here's a cute little Melissa Francis sticker. It says Happy Halloween, and the little girl on it kind of looks like my daughter Rainey. So I can find a home for it right down here in the corner next to that little card next to her. And I've used these papers on another fall layout that I did, so I really want to try to tie all my fall pages together with some of the same types of paper. So I don't really need very much of this paper showing, but I do want to. And I think it's about time I go ahead and start cutting up my little pocket pages. I've heard discussion before about what size the pockets are, and so I actually measured my pocket before I started cutting, and it ends up that it was 4 by 6, so that's what I cut my cards at. Of course I had to add a little bit more, and they ended up being a little bit too big, so yeah, they were 4 by 6. But you know what, there was a much simpler way I could have done that. And I'm going to cut this one at 4 by 6 to start with, and I actually cut it a little bit larger than that, and it ends up to be a little bit too big. So I went ahead and cut 2 pieces, and I'm going to go ahead and start layering them. And what I didn't realize is that I should have cut one of them additionally in half, so that I have two 2 by 3 mats. So now I've got my 2 by 3 mats, and I'm going to go ahead and put the purple on one side and the green on the other side. Remember how I told you there was an easier way I could have cut those papers? I could just use the cards as they're made on the cutout sheet to cut the rest of my pages, especially if you slip it into the page protector that you have and you find that it fits really well, then just use that size to cut all the rest of your papers. And it occurs to me as I keep trying to put my pages into the pockets that I should just leave them out for now and kind of put them on top, but I'm so excited. It's like I'm in a whir of I don't know what to do with all my pocket stuff. So now it's time to get started on the left hand side. I'm going to use the manufacturer's strip to put my glue on, and that way when using the manufacturer's strip as a base to hold my other 6 by 12 inch background paper, I can just run a thin line of Tombow. That'll hold easy. I've gone ahead and cut some thin strips of my favorite patterns for layering. I have a hard time using my paper wrap, so I stretch it out the best I can. If I run a strip of glue right down the middle of these strips, I'll be able to tuck them in here and there. I'll be thinking of my photos as one long strip as well, because they're going to go all the way across the page. I could also distress the edges on all my layers, and I can do this beforehand, or I can also use that glue to help me kind of lift up the paper and distress it directly from the paper. I can also use the branding strip as a handle, like here as I punch out this border strip. Can you see how I line up the punched edges with the picture printed in silver? This punch is really nice. It folds up, so it's really compact for taking with me, and this paper is fibrous, so I need to cut it a little bit with my scissors. You can never have too many scissors available. I'm constantly covering mine up with paper, so I like to have another set to reach for, but I do have 3 types. I have a pair with a long handle, that's the blue handle, pair, and then I have a pair with a yellow handle. The blue ones have a longer blade, so I like them for cutting long strips and especially for photo cutting. And the yellow ones are just comfortable. They also aren't as covered in glue, so they're sharper blades. Then I have some precision tip scissors also. By my glue caps measuring, this is straight. So now we can just keep going. Remember how I wanted to use this piece of ball paper? I can just use this tiny bit, put a little bit at the top and a little bit at the bottom. Round the corners so it looks kind of like some of those rounded corners that are going to be in my pocket pages. Put a tiny bit of glue here down here at the bottom because I don't need it to hold really strongly or anything. And the placement doesn't have to be exact for me. Now I can just recreate the way that I had these little pieces all laid out before. I cut the journaling card in half so that I can use some on the top and some on the bottom. And if you look, the right hand side of these cards is going to kind of run right down the picture, right through my kids' faces. So that's going to help draw the attention there. Also, it looks like I used a longer piece of pretty paper. One of the things that I love about using these die-cut ephemera packs is that it makes it so easy to just pull a whole bunch of kind of matching or coordinating things out and throw them down in your layout. So I've got some little chipboard pieces and then some arrows from the coordinating collection. And it's fun to mix and match the brands. If that's something that you struggle with, just go for it. Try it. Buy a couple different things like in the same season, and then you'll see that a lot of the colors will be current and easily mix and matchable. Now that everything's in place, I can go ahead and glue all of my final, this last layer of things down. I'm really glad I was able to use a lot of these little doodads. And when I put the two pages together, I really like the way that they look next to each other. But it's like the glitter on the right hand side is stronger than the glitter on the left hand side. So I'm thinking I'm going to get out some more glittery things. So what I've got is this SEI fall foil shapes. Oh, look at this. I could totally use that piece of paper for something else. I'll pull out all these glitter leaves and see what else is in the pack. It's the first time I've actually opened it, I'm ashamed to say. Okay, it looks like there's a lot of really cute journaling cards and everything's double-sided, some frames and things like that. Okay. And I got it for half price. Gotta love that. Put everything away. The journaling that I was writing on that card, I was telling about how one of the things I remember from growing up was that my mom would call me her little pumpkin head. And so I was journaling about my two little pumpkin heads out here in the pumpkin patch this day. For some added visual interest, I'll tie some twine around this card. A pretty little bow here. Get it just right. And now I'm ready to move on to my title. So I've got my letters stickers already laid out. I tried to journal it directly onto the paper and I made a little boo-boo, so I don't like that, so I'm just going to cover it up with the stickers. Some of my letters may show in the background, and that's okay to me. Actually, I made another little boo-boo and I didn't look up the name of the farm that my family went to for my cousin's two twin boys' birthday party. They turned 1 this year. And their party was out in Ording at Schultz Farm, but I didn't go and look up the information before I started making my scrapbook page, and I just was in such a hurry to have the fun of having the page done that I went ahead and started writing it on there and everything. Stuck my letter stickers on there, only to find out that the name of the farm is actually spelled with an O. So I'll have to go back and fix that later on. For some extra bling and even more added interest, and actually just to use up some of this Halloween embellishment stuff that I have collected over the years. I mean, seriously, these brads are probably, 10 years old. Maybe not that old, but it seems like, that's the oldest tool, or the tool that I have a hardest time cleaning up out of my stash nowadays. So if I can use it, I'm going to. It might be a little bit over-themed, but what's better to over-theme than Halloween? Or Christmas, or pretty much anything that you have the supplies for. So I'll lay my little brads in each of my little clusters. I've tried to keep my embellishment corners to create a visual triangle on each of my pages, but also remember with the whole 2-page spread. So I don't want to overcrowd anything. And if you're doing a page like this that's really layered, I don't think you can overcrowd it. Get out my handy dandy poker tool, which is just a thumbtack stuck in one of those brad holders. And I'll zoom in here for you. You can see how I just poked through my little leaf brad. I'll go ahead and move down here to my little pumpkin brad. So cute. And I'm not going to worry about bending the brad prongs over on the back side of the page until I'm done. I have quite a few layers that the brads are going through, so I'm not worried about them falling out. And the holes are already in the page, so if they fall out, I know where they can go back in. Okay, I'm thinking this page is coming to a close here. I've got just about everything I want in place. I'm just going to secure some of these loose edges with my Tombow. I noticed this bow is a little too floppy for me, so I'm just going to put a tiny glue dot up here. Tombow, when you let it sit, it turns into a glue dot, so if I let it sit for a couple seconds, then I could stick the bow on there and it'll be like a little glue dot back there. Some close-ups of my 2 girls here. Here's some snapshots of my daughter helping me stick my letter stickers back on there after I got the correct. Let's revisit the pocket page side of this layout. I've stored all of my cards and their embellishments in the pockets while I was working on the other half of the layout, and I just wanted to show you how easy it is to kind of spruce these cards up. I just took a piece of chipboard and layered it where there was already a layering of embellishments on this card, and it just gives it that extra dimension and added pop, so that's a pretty easy way to dress up these cards. I'll add in this die cut arrow to point to my sentiment in this box over here. And then a cute little date chipboard to finish out this embellishment cluster. Moving over into this card, I'm going to actually offset this sticker just a little bit off of the card because the journaling box is kind of running off the card, so I want the sticker to run off the card also. Now you'll notice underneath this card that there's a little sticker stuck on the outside. Sometimes I just lay things right onto the sheet protector. Luckily for me, I actually put this where I wanted it to go because when I try to peel it off, the paper backing stays on the sheet protector, so I just leave it there. I think it looks cute and a little added visual interest. It's fun to have people want to touch your pages. Depending on who's wanting to touch, it's great to have a sheet protector there though. Go ahead and put a little bit of glue on the back of my owl here and fill in my to-do list of what the kids did at the pumpkin patch. Now I know this happens to you. Sometimes you write something in there and it just doesn't look that great. You could try to go back over it with a pen, it still doesn't look that great. So you know what, because I didn't use very much glue on the back of my owl, it's fairly easy to just lift him up, cover up that word, and then I can put that same phrase in the empty space that's now down there at the bottom. I think this card needs a little bow too, and just in case you want to see how I do my bows, here's a little close-up. I don't do anything special. I just loop the, twine and pull it through, but I think what I do differently is that I pull all ends of the bow the same time taut, and then I pull the strings until I get the bow the size that I want. So I kind of pull it in an X shape as I'm tightening it. Now I'll just secure this twine onto the back of my card with some washi tape. So many great ways to use washi tape. And I'm really happy with the way this looks. And that's it. That's all I've got for you. So if you want to see some more about this, go ahead and check out my blog. I'd love for you to see anything else that's on there too. I like to post and I like to see what other people post back. So if you have any comments or questions or anything like that, hey, send me a line. Here's some close-up shots, both my full page and the pocket inserts. Oh, and one more thing. If you are perhaps not the most manually dexterous person, you may ask a friend who ties really nice bows to just whip out a little sheet of pre-made bows for you. Thanks again for watching.